Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
It's a gorgeous afternoon out here right now, but clouds will roll in later on, and that means we could see some showers and storms for hopscotch. I'll walk you through the timeline.
Breaking news in the Hedingham mass shooting. What the judge said about the trial for the accused shooter.
And Health Secretary in the hot seat. This afternoon, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faces tough questions on a number of topics. We'll be diving into that and others this afternoon.
Right now, we want to give you a live look at Fayetteville Street in downtown Raleigh, where the 15th annual Hopscotch Music Festival kicks off tonight. Right now, the weather is perfect for outdoor music. You see the stage is set up. Will it hold up over the next 3 days? Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Chris Levin. I say we're in the afternoon now, moving forward for Friday. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, a cold front is crossing the state, and it will give us our best chance of rain in almost 2 weeks. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is on the WRAL weather patio with a look at who could see some of the storms this evening.
So I guess we're most worried about folks who might be out at Hopscotch. Of course, you can see they're all set up there on Fayetteville Street. And the question is the rain going to come far enough south? Because most of it will end up being up near the Virginia line. Already we've seen some showers and thunderstorms in the mountains, but we are just about as clear as we could possibly be right here, right now, here on the patio and across our viewing area. But you can watch those showers and storms back to the west starting to move in. There's 3 o'clock. We'll pause it again right there at 5. You can see no issues for the evening commute, at least here on Futurecast. And then by the time we get to 8 o'clock, there is a shower just to the west of Durham. As that moves eastward, it really falls apart. And right there at 11 o'clock, there's just the tiniest chance of some rain, at least on this version of Futurecast. There's a better chance up near the Virginia line, but I really think that probably everybody at Hopscotch is going to be okay. Now, we do have a level 1 risk for severe storms. That's mostly to our west today. Just a very small sliver of Mecklenburg and Person counties in the northwestern part of our viewing area. An hour-by-hour chance for rain, and again, this mostly impacts folks that are north of the triangle. 20% chance at around 5 and a 30% chance as we get through the evening. So we take a look at our Hopscotch planner for today. It's definitely going to be a hot afternoon, a hotter afternoon. Highs in the upper 80s. By 9 o'clock, we're into the mid 70s. And then again, there's that tiny chance of some showers and thunderstorms, maybe between 10 and 11. Now, there's another chance of rain as we get into Saturday and Sunday. And we'll walk through the timeline for that coming up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Breaking news at noon. A judge says he's not inclined to push back the trial date for the teen accused in the Raleigh-Hedingham mass shooting. Austin Thompson did not appear in court for today's status hearing. His attorneys say they are still waiting on mental health reports before determining how they will defend him. The state has yet to hire its own mental health experts because it needs that information to proceed. Thompson faces 5 murder charges for the 2022 shootings in Raleigh. His trial is set for February.
A man charged with being a serial fraud will be in court today. Brian Talton is accused of defrauding people, including elderly people, of more than $100,000. Most recently, Raleigh police say he posed as a Duke Energy worker, and warrants also say he overcharged victims for substandard driveway paving and home repair contract work. WRAL counted at least 10 victims and 20 charges related to the crime. 2 people now face charges in connection with shots fired at a state trooper during a pursuit. Jamar Moore and Destiny Williamson are both facing charges in this. They're being held on no bond. This all began when Highway Patrol tried to pull over a car on I-295 in Cumberland County Tuesday night. Authorities say Williamson was driving, and investigators say Williamson did not stop and that Moore leaned out of the window and started shooting, but no one was injured.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, Washington, D.C. officials suing the Trump administration over the deployment of National Guard troops in the nation's capital. Now, in filing that lawsuit, the Attorney General there in D.C. saying none of this is legal. A federal judge ruled this week the deployment violated a longstanding act that prohibits the use of soldiers for civilian law enforcement duties. That said, though, a senior White House official says President Trump is committed to the long-term safety of residents and visitors in D.C. We should also note that the president is considering sending troops to other major cities, including Baltimore, Chicago, and New Orleans.
A lot of attention on Capitol Hill right now after weeks of controversy around public health in America. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is testifying before a Senate committee on a wide range of issues. This is a live look inside that hearing right now. NBC's Ryan Nobles reports on the upheaval at the CDC and a wave of questions about vaccines.
This morning, a showdown over health care in the U.S. states across the country taking vaccine policy into their own hands, as Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the Secretary of Health and Human Services, is set to face tough questions, including from many in his own party, about America's public health agencies.
There's just been too much chaos. It's a goat rodeo over there.
Kennedy, a vaccine skeptic, is in the process of transforming the way people get vaccines, recommending more limited access to COVID shots this fall, overhauling the powerful panel that recommends which vaccines Americans should take, and firing the CDC director, leading to resignations from other top officials. Now, states making their own choices. Florida announced they would eliminate all statewide vaccine mandates. The Surgeon General speaking about mandates yesterday.
Every last one of them is wrong and drips with disdain and slavery. Who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body?
On the other end of the spectrum, Democrat-led states like Washington, California, and Oregon are drawing up plans to coordinate vaccine recommendations outside of the federal government. California Governor Gavin Newsom saying the CDC has become a political tool that increasingly peddles ideology instead of science. And ahead of Kennedy's hearing, over 1,000 current and former members of the Department of Health and Human Services demanding in a letter that he resign. Senators planning to grill Kennedy.
I am very concerned about and alarmed by the firing of the CDC director.
RFK should be fired.
Kennedy has rejected the criticism and is expected to defend his policy in today's hearing. He wrote in the Wall Street Journal that, quote, bureaucratic inertia, politicized science, and mission creep corroded the purpose and squandered public trust.
Getting health insurance through your job is about to get more expensive. New data suggests workers can expect to pay an additional 6 to 7% in premiums next year. Some employers say they will try to limit those increases, but that typically means you'll pay higher deductibles and out-of-pocket costs instead. The projected increase is the steepest cost hike in 15 years.
We're waiting to hear back from investigators in Johnson County about a crash that shut down both lanes of traffic. Sky 5 was above NC 222 near NC 42 just after 7 a.m. this morning. Video shows items and the road circled by authorities. And we also saw an SUV that appears to have had its airbag deployed. But no word just yet on the cause of that crash or if anyone was seriously injured. Sky 5 was also above a crash in Wake County, and this was the scene around 7:30 this morning. That's at the intersection of Spring Forest Road and Richfield Drive. Video shows that SUV right there on its side involved in that crash, and we're waiting to hear back from Raleigh Police regarding an update. Raleigh Police are also investigating a shooting on Yester Court. Sky 5 was above this one and showed a large police presence in that area. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker also showed officers in that area of one of the apartments, and Raleigh Police said there is no threat to the public.
Giorgio Armani is being remembered for sophisticated design and understated elegance. The Italian fashion designer died today at the age of 91. Kurt Gregory looks at the life of one of fashion's biggest names.
The man who became synonymous with style began his career as a merchandiser at an Italian department store. He went from buying clothes to creating them when he became a designer for various companies and began working on his signature style. In 1975, Armani's business partner convinced him to start his own line of ready-to-wear clothes. His fashions became known for sleek design and rich fabrics. Giorgio Armani evolved into one of the most sought-after fashion labels in the world. By 2001, he was called the most successful designer that Italy has ever produced. But beneath the elegant facade, Armani drove himself and those who he worked with.
It implies very cruel decisions at times. The girl is happy, everybody's happy. I say, no, it doesn't work. That sometimes is hard.
Some of Armani's biggest customers were in Hollywood. Leonardo DiCaprio among the stars who were fixtures at his runway shows. Armani is credited with pioneering red carpet fashion, and he dressed celebrities for countless award shows. But Armani will be remembered not as someone who simply designed clothes, but for the distinctive and unique styles he created. Kurt Gregory, NBC News.
Titan of the fashion industry. The YMCA of the Triangle has revealed plans to expand in downtown Durham. WRAL's Ali Kadavar explains that at the YMCA's new location, it'll be at the American Tobacco campus.
Yes, this empty parking lot behind me, well, it's going to be 65,000 square feet, multiple stories of fitness areas and wellness programs. It's all going to be right here at the American Tobacco campus, generating a lot of excitement. Here's a better look of where this new facility will be. It's going to be next to the DPAC as well as Aloft Hotels. It's less than a half mile from the DBAP. WRAL's parent company, Capital Broadcasting, owns the American Tobacco campus. CBC Real Estate is working with the Y. CBC Real Estate Development Manager John Nelson says the Y will bring another feature to the campus.
Putting a new facility in easy walking distance of all those houses, apartments, and putting it also in close proximity to the Durham Transportation Center and the great connectivity that it has to our community is something that is hopefully going to be really beneficial.
The new facility will have indoor and outdoor fitness areas, an indoor pool, and more wellness programs. Construction is set to begin in 2027. It's expected to be open in 2029. Reporting in Durham, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
Happening today, Triangle Family Services is celebrating 88 years of service in Wake County. The nonprofit held its 15th annual Wake Up Breakfast fundraiser this morning, and that was at the Northridge Country Club. The event featured a panel discussion about the resources and opportunities TFS provides to families in crisis, and WRAL is a proud media sponsor of this event. In fact, our Ken Smith served as MC.
All your money woes could vanish if you win the Powerball jackpot. It is now an estimated $1.7 billion, the third largest in the game's history. The jackpot for Saturday night's drawing is the third biggest prize. If you win and choose the lump sum, that would be $770 million. You can watch Saturday night's drawing right here on WRAL before our 11 p.m. newscast. The numbers for last night's drawing were 3, 16, 29, 61, 69. The Powerball was 22, and the Power Play multiplier was 2.
Next at noon, plane down. New video shows the moment a plane crashed southeast of Wilmington from the plane's perspective. A closer look next.
Go Birds or them Cowboys? Who do you think will win? A kickoff preview of this season's first regular season NFL match tonight.
And driving change. What's next for the state's DMV offices as plans are in motion for an overhaul?
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Right now, we have some milky sunshine, and it is warming up. We'll get into the 80s today. You're looking live from the Tower Cam as we look at downtown Raleigh. You're watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. House Republicans plan to establish a new subcommittee to revisit the January 6th Capitol riots. Thousands of pro-Trump protesters stormed the Capitol, aiming to prevent Joe Biden's certification as president. Republicans have complained that the previous probe was biased against President Trump. The new panel will have 8 members who will be chosen by House Speaker Mike Johnson, but the partisan split will not be even. A federal judge in Boston handed Harvard a landmark victory over the Trump administration. The judge ruled that the White House illegally withheld billions in federal funding for cancer research. The White House argued the Ivy League university did not address anti-Semitism. The administration says it will appeal.
Today, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson will be at Fayetteville State University. And Jackson was also at North Carolina A&T University in Greensboro last night. That was part of her memoir tour. She was nominated by former President Joe Biden, and she is the first black woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. All right, I got to show you this. Newly released video shows a plane crash landing in the water from the plane's perspective here. Look right here. The crash happened last month off the coast of Oak Island, just southeast of Wilmington. Now, the video shows the plane's propeller, and it begins to malfunction and then stops, rotates, and you see it right there. Glides for a minute and then hits the water. A team happened to be nearby performing a separate water rescue, and the unit rescued that pilot, who was treated for minor injuries.
We are just 8 hours away from the kickoff of the 2025 NFL season right here on WRAL, and the birds are flying high. Here's a live picture of Lincoln Financial Field, where the Super Bowl champion banner will be raised inside before the game. The Philadelphia Eagles host their bitter rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. NBC's Jay Gray shows us the hype building in the city of brotherly love.
Overnight, the city framed in green, steeped in history, home to the Liberty Bell and Declaration of Independence. The real sizzle in Philadelphia comes from cheesesteaks and touchdown, the Eagles.
You know, as much as we're loved in Philadelphia, you know, it's got to take a backseat to the sports teams, especially the birds.
And this is the moment.
The entire NFL taking a backseat to the Super Bowl champs.
Oh man, that Super Bowl was amazing. Everyone from all the way to New Jersey to Philadelphia, we all just celebrated. It was a very beautiful thing for the city.
A city still celebrating. Fans gearing up and getting ready for opening night.
Yeah, definitely. I would say I would miss nothing. If I have to work, I call out to watch the game. I'm that big a fan, you know.
The new season kicking off right here on NBC.
It's always exciting. I look at September as, well, that's when we'll find out what the NFL is really all about.
The matchup, a classic NFC East rivalry, and fans say beating the Cowboys, a team the city of brotherly love loves to hate, is the perfect way to start the run for another trophy.
You know, one thing you look for another team coming off the Super Bowl is if they're still hungry, and I think the Eagles have that hunger in them.
In a place
May I have a beefsteak with provolone?
Sure.
where they know a little something about satisfying a hunger. Jay Gray, NBC News, Philadelphia.
Today we're asking who will win the first game of this NFL season. Will the Eagles have a Super Bowl hangover, or will it be America's team? Share your voice right now by scanning the QR code on your screen. Head to WRAL.com/yourvoice. We will share the results before the end of this newscast.
Oh, just got split there. You see that? Some people are saying Cowboys now. All right, stepping outside to see how things are looking weather-wise over on the WRAL weather patio. It's nice out there, but we do have some rain that's approaching there, Elizabeth.
We do. You know, it feels warmer than it did yesterday. We have had a change in our wind direction, so wind's coming out of the south, making it feel a little bit hotter. So we're talking about mid to upper 80s. That's really not far from normal for this time of year. All that gorgeous weather that we had to start the week, those temperatures were below normal. We do have a small chance for rain in the triangle, a little better chance up near the Virginia line. We walked through that at the beginning of the newscast, but I'll walk you through it again in just a bit. Looking at 90s on Friday and Saturday. Friday looks like a nice dry day, but another front comes through late Saturday. Ahead of that front, it's going to be hot, so that's why it'll be back into the 90s on Friday and Saturday. Here's a look at the gardens behind me. It looks beautiful here. 83 is the temperature, and here's what's making it feel pretty good outside. Our dew point is still in the 50s. Now, that dew point is likely to start to climb tomorrow and Saturday, so it's going to feel hot and humid, but today at 83 with the dew point of 57, it's really not bad if you're in the shade like I am. Our temperatures are low to mid 80s right now. 84 Southern Pines and South Hill, 81 in Roxborough, and 81 in Goldsboro. Zooming in around the triangle, it's 82 in Holly Springs, 81 in Garner, 83 in Morrisville, 82 in Rollsville. And here's a look at our 24-hour temperature change. We're running about 5 to 7 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, so it's not a huge jump, but it's noticeable. We're looking at upper 80s for Raleigh and Durham this afternoon, and 90 degrees in Fayetteville. Turning warmer, of course, we'll take a look at that, not just 88 today, but 91 Friday, 93 Saturday. And then Sunday, we might see the temperature drop. It all depends on how fast that front moves through. If that front lingers a bit during the day Sunday, we may not get into the coolest air, but certainly by Monday, the temperatures will be right back down below normal where they were. So temperatures were below normal. We'll roll through this, and you can see, especially as we get into tomorrow, we start to see some of the yellow shaded colors across North Carolina and up and down the East Coast. That lasts through Saturday as we're seeing that front just to our west, and then that front sweeps through and ushers all of that cool air right back in. Here's our hour-by-hour rainfall chance. It's showing as 20% chance at 5 o'clock, but that's really going to be up near the Virginia line. I wouldn't expect any rain during the evening commute, and then a 30% chance again near the Virginia line in the evening. So we talked about the Hopscotch Festival earlier. We'll talk about it again. We'll take it all the the way through Friday and Saturday. So in the early evening, around 6 or 7 o'clock, temperatures will still be in the mid to upper 80s each day. Friday's nice and dry, but Saturday during the day is fine. But then late Saturday night, we may have a few showers and thunderstorms. And I'm going to walk you through Futurecast for Saturday and into Sunday coming up in just a little while. Big games over the weekend. We have Duke and NC State at home at noon. Temperatures will be in the mid 80s at that point. And then UNC plays at UNC Charlotte in the evening Saturday, and temperatures will be in the low 80s. So again, looking at a 30% chance of rain Sunday, maybe 20 on Monday. There's more to it than just those numbers. So we'll go over how things look and when to expect that rain coming up. Once we get past the weekend, we're looking at more cool temperatures. You can see that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, upper 70s to right around 80 degrees. So fall will come right back.
Coming up on WRAL News at 4, recent storms have resulted in a vast amount of trash along the banks of Walnut Creek. The effort to clean it up right now and what could really help this weekend.
And tonight at 6, EMS workers in Durham County earned nearly $2 million in overtime in just 1 year. That shows just how short-staffed they are. WRAL Investigates is asking about the plan to bring them relief. The Labor Day weekend, yeah, it's behind us, but there are still plenty of chances to save this month. 5 on your side's Ashley Rose shows us the deals that you can still take advantage of.
A lot of sales on big ticket items stick around past Labor Day, like large appliances and mattresses. So you can still save even if you miss the holiday weekend. The queen size Casper Dream is $500 off on the company's website. CR's tests show it's comfy, durable, and a standout for petite back sleepers. Another smart pick, this LG washing machine. Even at full price, it's a deal. But at Lowe's, you can save hundreds. CR says the front loader offers exceptional washing performance along with water and energy efficiency.
As retailers are shifting into fall mode, you've got a really good opportunity to save on items that are going to carry you into the new season.
Like a battery-powered Ego leaf blower on sale at Lowe's and Amazon. Perched at the top of CR's ratings, members love that it's reliable, powerful, and easy to handle. If your favorite season is football season, this top-rated Coleman portable grill is tailor-made for tailgating, and it's marked down at Amazon. Legs with built-in wheels make it easy to take along. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
The U.S. oil company ConocoPhillips is planning to lay off up to 25% of its employees worldwide. The company has roughly 13,000 employees around the world, and that means roughly 3,200 employees will be affected. A spokesperson for that company says the move is aimed at improving efficiency. This past Labor Day weekend, records were made traveling through airports such as RDU, where you are looking live this afternoon. The TSA screened nearly 10.5 million travelers from Friday through Monday. That's a 3% increase over the same 4-day period last year. Friday was the busiest day with nearly 3 million passengers screened.
DMV overhaul plans. Hiring more workers is just one part of the equation. What the new commissioner says will help solve the problem. And compulsive gambling. It's a problem that affects more than 2 million Americans. How to spot the signs and where to get help. Here's a look at the winning North Carolina Education Lottery numbers. We'll be right back.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
As issues at the DMV continue, we're getting a glimpse at what the department is doing to improve the experience. Commissioner Paul Tyne is participating in a panel at this year's NC Transportation Summit being held downtown, and that is where we find WRAL's Sean Gallagher. Sean, what did Tyne discuss during this panel?
Yeah, well, Tyne was joined with leaders of DMVs from our neighboring states, all of them coming together to collaborate because a good idea for one could be a good idea for the other. But even the ones who are doing it well, this is the focus of their conversation, improving the DMV customer experience, which obviously is something they want to do here in North Carolina. Now, the hour-long conversation centered around modernizing the DMVs to enhance the customer experience, including the latest technologies being used, all with the goal of reducing lengthy wait times and improving accessibility for everyone. Tyne took over the struggling department nearly 4 months ago and says they're already looking at ways to become more efficient, from new scanners to technology upgrades that have already reduced hundreds of thousands of potential physical interactions at the DMV locations, opening it up for the people who really need it. But above all, it's getting more people working at DMVs, something Tyne said is being pushed by Governor Josh Stein and the legislature.
The governor said you need to hire these people in 30 days, which is unheard of inside of state government and in government in general. It's difficult to do that. And I will say that mandate allowed OSHR and Commerce to come together and help us and assist us. We did job fairs all over the state. We were interviewing people right there after we screened them up front. And there'll be an announcement tomorrow or the next day from the governor with the exact number, but we have moved mountains, and I think you'll be very pleased with that.
And Tyne says one of the simplest fixes is just data collection. Before trying to figure out wait times, he says it was an estimation. But just last week, new technology has allowed them to more precisely figure out wait times for everyone. Or he says it's about 2 hours and 45 minutes across the state on average. He admits that's not great, but it's progress to move up from here. At the convention center, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Western North Carolina is seeing some progress after Helene's devastating flooding. Governor Josh Stein says more than $1 billion in road repairs have been completed. He shared the update during the first day of the State Transportation Summit in Raleigh. 97% of damaged roads in our state are back open.
While we recognize all the work that remains, and there is a great amount of work yet to do, it is nevertheless astounding to think of the progress that we've made in this recovery in just under the year since Helene hit. And we have many of you to thank for that progress.
Stein also says crews are rebuilding in a way that roads and bridges can better withstand another storm. The Transportation Summit wraps up today. We are bringing you stories of heartbreak and hope in the mountains 1 year after the hurricane. It's all part of our new WRAL documentary, Helene, What We Lost, What We Found. It airs Thursday, September 25th at 7:30 p.m. here on WRAL and wherever you stream WRAL.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, it appears tourism is big business based on numbers just released this morning. Take a look at your screen and take a look at the Bull City for that matter. A study by Visit NC and the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina shows domestic and international visitors to Durham County spent $1.16 billion last year. That number shows that people are discovering Durham for festivals, theater, dinner, and other leisurely options. So let's bring it back to the WRAL Live Center so I can show it to you by the numbers. The tourism dollars supporting 7,700 jobs, generating a payroll tax of $317 million. That's up from $13 million from the year before. And tourism industry generating state and local tax revenue of $81.4 million. So don't sleep on Durham.
A significant increase there. All right, thanks, Ken. Sports betting is a booming industry, and while experts say it can be a fun hobby, gambling, it can also be a fall hobby, it turns out. Gambling can also turn into a severe issue, and as Mandy Gaither shares, the warning signs of gambling addiction and how to get help.
It's an addiction that often isn't as obvious as others, but severe gambling problems can have a significant impact on a person's life.
This is something that, an individual could potentially, keep to themselves.
The National Council on Problem Gambling defines it as gambling behavior that's damaging to a person or their family, often disrupting their daily life and career. The organization says warning signs include thinking about gambling all the time, feeling the need to bet more money more often, trying to win money back, feeling restless or irritable when you try to stop or cut back, feeling like you can't control yourself, and gambling despite negative consequences. In extreme cases, it can also cause bankruptcy, legal problems, the loss of your job or family, and suicidal thoughts.
And the right mindset comes down to knowing the odds, understanding the game, and most importantly, keeping it social.
Devices make sports betting easier than ever, so the American Gaming Association says to think before you gamble and monitor your behavior. If you choose to place a bet, make sure you're doing it on a legal site with responsible gaming protections.
If you're someone that's concerned about a loved one involved in this activity, trying to keep an eye on their habits and what he or she might be demonstrating in some moments when you're watching the game. If somebody is sort of displaying those levels of anxiety around an important moment in the game, it might be an opportunity to just ask that person, give that person the space to communicate.
That was Manny Gay, the reporting. If you or a loved one struggles with gambling, there is help available for you. Call 1-800-GAMBLER for the National Problem Gambling Hotline.
Not a cook? Try meal kits. Why they can be better than takeout for your health and your wallet.
And start unplugging. We don't just mean time away from screens, but literally unplug those cords in your house if they're not in use. How that can help you save on your electric bill. And just a reminder, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device. So between work and school and extracurricular activities, many parents have little time to meal prep. That could lead to lots of dining out and takeout. A new survey finds that Americans pay more than $4,000 a year on food beyond our groceries. Meal kits offer a way to save money and reduce food waste. Some people think it's expensive, but compared to spending $25 to $40 for one meal delivery, a meal kit can be a more affordable option.
Thinking about some of the serving sizes or even just the number of meals that you're looking for per week. You're not really overbuying. You're planning in advance on how much you plan to eat, but really that also helps you plan for how much you plan to spend.
And parents can decide which meal kits work best by trying plans that offer a free trial. But be sure you also review the cancellation policy before you subscribe.
Really a lot of variety with those meal kits. Energy costs are rising across the nation, and environmental advocates say there are ways to reduce your bill. The average household spends about $100,000 to $200,000 a year on something called phantom energy. That's wasted electricity consumed by just leaving things plugged into the socket. Climate advocates say just turning off items in your house is not enough to stop the power flow.
CO2 is being pumped up in the air whether or not we're using that electricity or not. So if you're wasting that amount of electricity, in the U.S. alone, it's about $22 billion worth of waste altogether. And that's just money, resources that we aren't getting back.
Some suggestions for you. Unplug your phone charger after your phone is 100% charged. Countertop kitchen appliances are easy to unplug as well, like the microwave or the toaster or the air fryer. Finally, the little red light on your TV consumes power, so it's best to unplug the TV as well.
Rechargeable plants. How researchers created plants that glow in the dark.
Spotting concussions. The symptoms aren't always obvious. What parents need to know before their child gets back in the game. EMS workers in Durham worked tens of thousands of hours of overtime in just 1 year, highlighting how short-staffed they are and how many extra shifts the workers they do have to pick up. WRAL Investigates Sarah Kruger shares a little about the story she's working on tonight at 6.
When you want an ambulance, you want it fast. That is not a situation where you want to wait. But unfortunately, that's what's happening every day here in Durham County for some lower priority calls.
We're still holding a number of calls each day. It's not unusual for us to hold sometimes in excess of 20 calls a day.
Mark Lockhart is Durham County's Director of Emergency Services. He says they simply do not have enough staff or ambulances to meet the demand. Knowing about that staffing issue, I filed a public records request for overtime data. At 6, I will break down the numbers, how much the county spent, how much top earners got, and what EMS leaders are doing to try to work towards solutions and prevent burnout. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News in Durham.
news here in the WRAL Live Center. We just got word into the newsroom that the Pentagon has approved the use of a Chicago area Navy base as possible operations for ICE operations and possible military operations as well. Of course, we're talking about the Naval Station Great Lakes on the outskirts of Chicago. As you look at video of troops deployed in the nation's capital, we just reported in the last half hour that the D.C. is suing the Trump administration over this particular troop deployment. We also reported the president is thinking about deploying National Guard troops to other cities, including Chicago, and this naval station could house those troops if they're deployed.
Identifying concussions quickly is the best way to protect brain health, but young athletes don't always recognize the symptoms. A concussion can happen after a hit to the head, a neck injury, or even after a whiplash injury. That's where the head is jolted but not hit. Symptoms can vary, but many children may become more irritable, forgetful, or slow responding to questions. If a parent senses something isn't quite right, it is so important to remove their child from an activity to prevent further injury.
It's important to remember with a concussion, most symptoms will show up in the first 24 hours, but it can take up to 72 hours after some type of head or neck injury for the symptoms to develop.
A concussion is a mild traumatic brain injury and should never be taken lightly. Children should not return to their sport until they are symptom-free and cleared by a medical professional.
New research reveals a negative link between brain power and artificial sweeteners. People who consumed large amounts of artificial sweeteners saw a significant decline in their ability to remember and recall words. Researchers looked at several different sweeteners, including aspartame and saccharin. Those who consumed those sweeteners saw a faster decline, equivalent to aging by over a year and a half. Okay, so bad effects for sugar substitutes. Not a whole lot of sugar. You want to limit that too?
So maybe, I guess,
so what do we got left? I'm kidding.
Nothing, I guess. Maybe just enjoy a glass of water outside on this beautiful afternoon, Elizabeth, I guess.
Glass of water always does it. It's going to be a good thing. Yeah. And take a glass of water with you downtown if you're headed to Hopscotch, especially for Friday and Saturday. Tomorrow's high 91, 93 on Saturday. Now, I know a lot of the events for Hopscotch are actually in the evening, after sunset. But if you're going to be out and about, there are a lot of day parties out there too. So just be careful out there. They are all set to go out there this afternoon, looking absolutely gorgeous. We have a few just puffy cumulus clouds out there, but things are really starting to ramp up back to the west. Notice where this is. Earlier, we were talking about the fact that most of the rain that we see is going to be up near the Virginia line. That's where it is right now, north of Johnson City. This is all in Tennessee right now, but there are a couple of active severe thunderstorm warnings there. So all this will continue to track eastward, but again, mainly stays to the north. So here's Futurecast for right now. And you can see as we push things ahead, gradually we start to see an increase in our cloud cover right around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. 5 o'clock during the morning commute, you can see everything is nice and dry. And then we get to 8 o'clock or so, and we see a shower or two around Durham. I paused it right there at 11, and there's just a hint of some rain in the northern part of Wake County, and that's really about it. So again, I think if we can completely trust this model, that nobody going to Hopscotch has to worry about anything for tonight. Now, of course, we're seeing some severe storms back into the mountains, so we do have a level 1 risk to our west. It does include a tiny piece of both Person County and Mecklenburg County, Virginia, but most of the viewing area shouldn't be affected. It's 30% chance of some showers and storms this evening. Again, that's going to be mainly north of the triangle. Let's jump ahead to Saturday. Ahead of this front, we're going to see hot conditions. Ahead of it, you can see those streams coming up from the south. At 2 o'clock, that rain is to the west, so this is going to be a fairly late day sort of thing that we see Saturday. You can see at 8 p.m. that front starting to move through. That's going to be our best chance, in the mid to late evening. And then the front stalls to the south on Sunday. And look at how we see a wave developing along it. And we have some showers and thunderstorms that develop. So late afternoon and evening storms again on Sunday. So both days we're going to be watching for it. But Saturday is likely to be after sunset before we end up with that chance for thunderstorms. But again, that could be a concern for folks heading to Hopscotch. So keep checking back here. Make sure you've downloaded your WRAL weather app and you can follow along on the radar. All right, so 20% chance for this evening. On Sunday in the afternoon and evening, also about a 30% chance. So what does that mean for your outdoor plans? Daylight hours Saturday should be fine. I really think it's after sunset before we see storms on Saturday. But on Sunday, potentially in the afternoon and evening. Of course, it's going to be hot too. We have to deal with that. 91 Friday and 93 Saturday. But it's possible that our cold front will slide far enough away from us on Sunday that our highs will be down into the low 80s. And if not, it still looks nice and cool again. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, fall is back.
Thanks, Elizabeth. All right, so earlier we asked you who will win the first game of the 2025 NFL season. And whoa, more Cowboys fans now?
Really?
Okay.
Even though Eagles are favored to win, betting odds show they're the 8.5-point favorite. We'll see. They're Super Bowl champions.
A bold vote there, Renee. Let's see if that pays off for those Cowboy fans.
Chicken craving. A quick trip to Chick-fil-A lands one customer in the back of a squad car. Why one couple was shocked after officers showed up at their home.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today.
A judge says he's not inclined to push back the trial date for the teen accused in the Raleigh-Hedingham mass shooting. Austin Thompson did not appear in court for today's hearing. This is video from January. His attorneys say they still are waiting on mental health reports before determining how they'll defend him. The state has yet to hire its own mental health experts because it needs that information to proceed. Thompson faces 5 murder charges for the 2022 shootings. His trial is set for February.
A man in Durham has been arrested after being accused of holding a man at knife point and then stealing his car. Brandon Ricks is charged with robbery with a dangerous weapon, among other charges. It happened just before 10:30 last night at New Millennium Way. When they arrived there, the man told deputies that he offered Ricks a ride, and that's when he says Ricks pulled the knife out, demanded him to get out of the car, and then drove off. Ricks is being held without bond.
An investigation is underway into a crash in Johnston County that shut down both lanes of traffic. Sky 5 flew over that scene on NC 222 near NC 42 just after 7 in the morning. Video shows items in the road circled by authorities. We also saw an SUV that appears to have had its airbag deployed. No word yet on what caused the crash, any charges, or if anyone was seriously hurt. Chinese researchers have created the first multicolored and brightest ever glow-in-the-dark plants. Researchers injected the leaves of the echeveria plant with an aluminate compound used in glow-in-the-dark toys. Once injected and placed under direct sunlight for just a couple of minutes, the plants continued to glow for up to 2 hours.
Man-made bioluminescence. Very cool. Law enforcement agents are stressing the importance of teaching young children their address and phone number in case of an emergency. This is after a 5-year-old wandered away from a home alone in Jacksonville, Florida, to get Chick-fil-A breakfast, of all things. Newly released body cam from the summer shows that boy eating with the store manager with the sheriff's deputies when they arrived. The child didn't know his address, but he did in fact know the direction there and told them that it had a white fence. Now, after driving around, they found a home surrounded by a white fence and spoke with a couple who had no idea he left. His mother says they often go to that restaurant. They walk together, in fact, and the parents were not charged because they had several safety measures in place. Oh boy.
Oh, how worried he must have been. And I know that Chick-fil-A breakfast is tempting, but I think he knows never to do that again.
I certainly hope so.
Our pet of the day comes to us from the SPCA of Wake County. Dorian here is a 6-year-old neutered male short hair cat. He has beautiful blue eyes, a funny crumpled ear. These are things that just give him an adorable look. Dorian is a big fan of churu treats. He's very affectionate and leans in when he scratches his head. Dorian might look a little grumpy here, but that's just his resting grumpy face. He's actually very happy and sweet. For more information, contact the SPCA of Wake County.
Price tag problems. Walmart and other grocery stores are installing digital price tags on shelves. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, the concerns some shoppers have over a rise in already expensive prices.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Hope you have a blessed day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.